One of these also diagrams, very important one, is the cumulative flow diagrams in Agile. In this video, we'll explore how the cumulative flow diagrams or the SFDs provides a clear visualization of the work progress in Kanban and Scrum. We will also discuss how they help us to identify the bottlenecks and improve workflow efficiency. A flow diagram or the SFD is a visual tool that it tracks the flow of tasks through various stages of the workflows. And it shows the number of tasks in each state, such as, for example, to do, on progress, done, over time. So the SFDs are good tools used in agile methodologies like Kanban, Scrum to monitor the progress and analyze the workflows. And as you could see that we have key components of the SFD, like you have the x-axis, which represent the time, you have the y-axis, which represent the cumulative number of tasks. Also, you have the band. And the band, it's like, as you could see, you have different workflow states, maybe the backlog, the development, or the testing. Each of them has different colors. And the color coding, it's used to distinguish between these stages. So in our case the x-axis, as we could see that we have the 2015 January, and here are the stages. As you could see, these are the task states. Each of them is represented with a color, as you could see. And this diagram, it helped us to identify where are the bottleneck activity. As you could see that um, this is the bottleneck activity because this was supposed to move on that way, on the, let's say, on the way that it's moving. Because as you could see here that let's say the development stage is getting very wide. Why it's getting very wide? Because there's a bottleneck activity here, as it could show that there's something happening in the testing. The number of development or the number of features that it was supposed to go on the testing phase, it's not increasing. So the number of features are keep growing on the development, and not moving to the testing phase. And the deployed case, where it shows the number maybe of cases that, or the number of features that it was supposed to be released to the end users. So as we could see here again, the testing phase, where it shows that there's a bottleneck activity here. There is some issue with the testing phase. So you as a scrum master, or you as a project manager, you need to investigate on what exactly happening at the testing phase. That's why the development effort, the development of these features are not pushing down, and increasing the testing phase. So this is where the cumulative flow diagrams, it can help you to understand where are the the bottlenecks activities. And this is the 600, where it shows the maybe amount of maybe user stories. Maybe these are the ready or the backlog items that they are ready for the development. And the development, which you can say that it's in the progress flow. And the testing, where you can see that it's ready for testing and done, which shows the deployed one. But as we see here that we have a timeline, and let's say the same thing goes every month, every day. There's no improvement, there's no activities, or there's no features are going deployed, because of there's some bottleneck activity within the testing phase. So this is exactly what is the CFD. And again, the components that we have discussed here. So the x-axis of the CFD represent the time, where the y-axis shows the cumulative number of tasks and the system. And the diagram is divided into color bands that represent different, let's say, workflows states, such as the backlog. In our case, it's ready. We also have the development, testing, and done. In our case, we have the, let's say, the deployed one. And these components collectively provides a comprehensive view of the work on progress. So the y-axis, we say that it represents the time, and the x-axis it shows the time, the y-axis the cumulative number of tasks, color coding of each of these stages or each of these phases of the project. The bands it shows the different workflows, the backlog, the development, the testing. So let's now see how we can use the CFDs in Kanban. So in Kanban, the CFDs are particularly useful for monitoring continuous flow of tasks, and they also help the teams to track the adherence to the work in progress rule and the work in progress limit, and quickly identify the areas where the tasks begin to pile up, signaling maybe potential bottlenecks in the workflows. And to see how the SDF, the SFD, or the CFD, it can also help us in Scrum. Scrum, the CFD are used to visualize the sprint progresses from initial backlog to task completion. As we could see in the previous session where, or in the previous slide where we have seen that maybe we have ready phase where it shows the number or the items that is ready in the backlog to be moved to the development. Also the development, it shows maybe the let's say the work on progress, testing, deploying, and maybe done are one of these, also one of these phases in Scrum that you can utilize. So from it shows us from initial adding to these features to the task completion. By analyzing the diagram, the teams can understand the let's say the velocity trends and identify the delays and track any scope changes that have maybe occurred during the time or during the sprint itself. Tracking and identifying the bottlenecks within the cumulative flow diagrams. As we could have seen in the previous example, the bottlenecks in SFD are represented by sections where the bands widen significantly. In our case, that we had issue with the testing phase where it's not moving, and let's say the band of let's say the development. Let me go back to see it. Yes, here. So this is a widening area activity. So the bottleneck activity, it goes after the widening area activity. As we have our example here, we have bottleneck activity in the green section where it's in the testing phase. So this widening area activity is keeping increasing, where we call it also the bottleneck activity, where you need to take action also on this activity, the main bottleneck, where why it's not moving, why this area isn't getting wider as well, as you could see here. So this is how you can identify these bottlenecks, uh, which is represented by the section where the bands widen significantly, indicating an accumulation of tasks in that stage. In our case, it was the development case. So this visualization allows the teams to quickly identify and address these inefficiencies, ensuring a smoother flow of the work across, let's say, the processes. Now let's look at some of these key benefits of using the cumulative flow diagrams or SFDs. So these diagrams offer several benefits, including a clear visualization of the workflow efficiency, and also the ability to predict the project completion timelines by analyzing the trends and patterns within your project. The teams can make informed decisions as well to optimize the processes and to improve the overall productivity and to identify the bottlenecks activity that it might slow them down. Some of these challenges that you might face when dealing with these SFDs. So despite of their advantages, the SFDs can pose challenges if the data, or let's say it's been misinterpreted or overly complicating these activities, having too many colors or having too many story points, or not updating these constant with constant and accurate data. which is very critical to such diagrams because decisions are made based on this diagram. So, in case of that diagram is overcomplicated and there's no consistency and accurate data entry, it can, make these diagrams pose, let's say, wrong analytics or wrong decisions. Also, teams should avoid creating too many workflows or states, as they can make the diagram less effective and harder to analyze. Here we have one of these real world examples where they have implemented the CFDs in software development, life cycle. So a software development team has used the SFD to identify the bottleneck in their testing stage, and by adjusting the work on progress limit and refining the task handoffs between the development and the QA team or the quality assurance team, they have achieved a 15% reduction in their delivery cycle time, which has demonstrated a practical value of utilizing the cumulative flow diagram in optimizing the workflows. And to summarize our session on the SFD or the cumulative flow diagram, we say that the cumulative flow diagrams are powerful tools to visualize the work on progress and also identify the bottlenecks in agile workflows and frameworks. It's applicable to both Kanban and Scrum. An SFD provide an actionable insight that enable the teams to optimize their processes and achieve greater efficiency.